Hey everyone, I'm Robin from the Persistence Labs marketing team. I'm joined today by Mikhil, who will be answering some questions about his recent Cosmos Hub forum discussion that he published, requesting 600K atoms from the Cosmos community pool. So welcome, Mikhil. Can you please introduce yourself very quickly and briefly talk about what the proposal is all about?
Yeah, thanks, Robin. Hey, everyone. I'm Mikhil Pandey, and I'm the Chief Strategy Officer for Persistence Labs. Recently published a forum discussion on the Cosmos Hub forum talking about utilizing some of the community pool funds, which is to the tune of 600K atoms, and using it to bootstrap liquidity for STK atom pools on various dexes. And also helping pSTAKE grow, helping Atom grow, Atom get better. So that's what the proposal is about. It's a very simplistic discussion. Please feel free to chime in and ask your questions if you wish to. But the proposal is a very straightforward one where it talks about the community pool, Cosmos community pool, allocating 600K atoms towards pSTAKE. A portion of that will be staked through the pSTAKE protocol and then be used to supply liquidity on various dexes such as Dexter and Neutron, and an Astropod on Neutron.
Okay, interesting. And if you don't mind me asking, what is the motivation behind this proposal?
Yeah, good question. I think there's various reasons for this proposal to come about, but I would say there's two main reasons for me publishing this discussion. So number one is, I think, for liquid staking to grow within Cosmos, we need multiple liquid staking providers to offer really good services. And I think we've built a very good product with pSTAKE. The product has been running for a while now and has been stable. We've seen some issues here and there, but the product seems to be battle tested now. We've had multiple security audits. So what we think is the next step, next stage of growth for liquid staking in Cosmos is for these liquid stake tokens to have more utility, more demand, and how to bring that about has always been a question mark in my head. One of the reasons why I put this out was because we want to have more liquidity for STK Atom, and why we need that is primarily because if you have more liquidity for STK Atom, you can have better integrations with other DeFi protocols. You can be integrated into a borrowing lending protocol, which uses STK Atom as collateral to borrow, and you can, as a user, you can borrow multiple assets. But that wouldn't be possible if STK Atom cannot be liquidated back into Atom easily. So you want to have more liquidity, which would result in more use cases for STK Atom, which would then result in more demand for STK Atom, which is basically demand for liquid staking in Cosmos. And that would result in a higher staking ratio, thus reducing inflation, which is what is always good for the ecosystem. So that's one of the reasons. The other is, I think these days people like talking about the atom economic zone and how it is useful for aligning incentives between various chains within the Cosmos ecosystem and aligning incentives with the Cosmos Hub itself. So I think the other reason is very straightforward. We want to show alignment between pSTAKE persistence and the Cosmos Hub. From our side, we've talked about this. I think the pSTAKE community has always been a big part of the Cosmos community, but the Cosmos community may not see that alignment yet. So to commit to that alignment, we wanted to come up with this proposition where pSTAKE is committed to the Cosmos Hub, and the Cosmos Hub is aware of that. But it's a win-win situation that we've tried to create, and a lot of points might be brought up on this forum discussion, which we'll go into details of, and things may change, but the high-level goal is to bring about that alignment between pSTAKE persistence and the Cosmos Hub.
All right, got it. But how exactly does that help Atom and Atom stakers?
Yeah, so I think you're right, because I talked about how this helps STK Atom bootstrap better liquidity and have more deep liquidity on various dexes. So Atom, I think going back a little bit about the history of Atom, right? So one is over multiple years, if you see last 3.5, 4 years, Atom has at least the Cosmos Hub teams, the core teams working on Cosmos Hub, they've done a very good job in stewarding the Cosmos ecosystem and building like really good really good technology. But what hasn't happened is value accrual to Atom, which is not great for people holding Atom. So you want people to have that faith in Atom. So over the last year or so, I would say a lot of people started looking at Atom token economics, Atom economics, and seeing how that value accrual to Atom would happen, how we can have more utility for Atom. So with that context, people started coming up with various solutions, one of which was the Atom economic zone. Now, the Atom economic zone is great for Atom value accrual, but I think Atom needs more various ways of value accrual. It's not just one that's going to solve all your problems. So how this proposal helps Atom is very straightforward. In fact, like if more people stake Atom through liquid staking protocols like pSTAKE, that would result in a higher staking ratio for Atom, which results in better security, which makes the proposition of shared security even more exciting, which also helps lower Atom inflation at a faster rate. Higher the staking ratio, inflation goes lower. There's already some proposals around potentially reducing the max inflation that Atom has, but that itself is going to take some time to be put into motion. But something like this is a very straightforward way of reducing inflation at a faster rate. So that's the other thing. Beyond that, I would say, so with the 600k atoms that are allocated to to pSTAKE, it's not just pSTAKE that benefits. It benefits various other platforms and protocols within Cosmos, one of which is Neutron, which is one of the most important, I would say, blockchains in Cosmos, because it's the Cosmos Hub's consumer chain. It consumes security from the Cosmos Hub, and in turn pays revenue to the Cosmos Hub, part of the revenue that they generate. So we plan to bootstrap STK Atom liquidity on Astroport on Neutron, which is going to generate swap fees, volumes. Based on those volumes, it would generate swap fees, and that would go back to the Atom community pool. The Atom community pool has exposure to not just right now, it's sitting idle, Atom in the community pool, right? It's not generating any yield, but a portion of the 600k Atom would generate staking rewards to begin with. It would generate swap fees on Dexter, on Astroport. It would also help bootstrap a decentralized stablecoin, which we've proposed, IST. So that's how I think it helps Atom. So it helps reduce inflation. It increases Atom security. And this is all predicated on STK Atom doing well, but those two being key parts. Beyond that, it's helping grow the ecosystem as a whole. So I would say that's how I see this helping Atom. But beyond that, you asked how does it help Atom stakers also, right? So to answer that question, we've proposed a 15% revenue share with Atom community pool, which can then be distributed to Atom stakers. But that's again dependent on Atom governance. What we've proposed is for the duration of time, until which this Atom is, the 600k is allocated towards pSTAKE. pSTAKE will share 15% of all its Atom liquid staking revenue that it generates. So if pSTAKE generates 100k revenue over 1 year, pSTAKE will be sharing 15% of that with Atom community pool, which can then be distributed in various ways to Atom stakers. That's up to Atom governance to decide. Obviously, this is again dependent on pSTAKE governance, approving this to begin with. So that's the high-level plan.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for clearing that out. That makes it a lot clearer for me as well. But now let's say you get the 600k Atom requested from the community pool. Where exactly will that go?
Yeah, so the exact split, what I've suggested in the forum discussion is a huge portion of it going to 50% of this would go to Neutron, in particular Astroport on Neutron, on the STK Atom pool that we create on Astroport. Why? Because I think DeFi and Neutron is going to kick off very soon, and STK Atom should play a huge part in the growth of the Neutron ecosystem. So that's one. The other is Dexter. Dexter being the prime, the premier liquid staking DEX for persistence. So the focus for Dexter was built keeping liquid staked assets in mind. So we want to have more liquidity for STK Atom on Dexter itself, which is obviously lower than what we've suggested on Astropod, and then also using a portion of this Atom to mint STK Atom and collateralizing that to mint IST again, which is then paired with STK Atom on Dexter. So we're looking at stable coins, which is again why IST. I want to answer that question, even though I know you haven't asked me this question, because I think every ecosystem succeeds with the presence of stable coins, particularly decentralized stable coins, I would say. Right now, there's not many decentralized stable coins in Cosmos. There's Silk from Shade, and there's IST by Inter Protocol. I think IST is going to be a very important part of the growth for Cosmos ecosystem. We've recently had Noble issue USDC, Kawa issue USDT, but I would still believe that the future of stable coins, the future success of blockchain ecosystems are highly dependent on decentralized stable coins. So we want to be a part of facilitating that. So that's the split, and that's why IST as well.
All right. Well, thank you for answering that without me asking for it. But I think that pretty much covers everything that I wanted to ask about the proposal that you've put out. Do you have any final points that you would like to add, maybe?
Yeah, I think I've covered everything, but the only thing I would add here is something that I touched upon briefly during this conversation itself. I think the Cosmos community, the Cosmos Hub, certain teams in Cosmos, like I said, have done a really good job at stewarding the ecosystem as a whole. And in the recent past, we've started focusing on Atom utility compared to earlier. I think a lot of people talk about Atom Economic Zone, and Atom Economic Zone being this notion of shared security, where you borrow security from the Cosmos Hub and then you share some revenue to Atom stakers for doing so. I think the Atom Economic Zone can be anything as long as it has to do Atom and economics, which is what the proposal is all about. It talks about pSTAKE sharing some revenue with the Atom community pool, but Atom being the asset that is used for aligning the persistence pSTAKE ecosystems with Cosmos Hub. And I think the idea of community-owned liquidity will go a long way in helping strengthen Atom as an asset itself. So with this proposal, that's what we are trying to achieve: show that there are better and efficient ways of aligning different chains and ecosystems. And this is how we see persistence pSTAKE being a part of the Atom Economic Zone, and it's more than just shared security.
Right, nice. I think that's a pretty good note to wrap up this interview. I want to thank you again, Mikhil, and I guess your proposal is out now. At least it's on the Cosmos Hub forum. So it's up to the community to provide their own feedback and let us know if they would like to see any changes to this proposal before you put it up for governance, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Robin, for having me. Great chatting.
Thank you. Bye-bye.